virtual chapter. And today we invited Jimmy Huang from Microsoft. Jimmy is a senior manager of the SSIS, and he will talk about give us a deep dive on the SSIS on the SQL Server 2016 and the SQL Server next version called VNext. And before I pass to Jimmy, let me spend a few minutes do a quick review of the past, and then I will through two polls, and after that I will pass the presenter to Jimmy. Okay, so the first thing is the Business Analytic Day. So if you're interested, go to the pastbaday.com and check all the links and find out if you have time and budget to attend this meetings. And next is a Past Summit 2017. It will be on the Past Summit is a annual event. It's 3 days normal session and 2 days pre-con. So pre-con is on Monday and Tuesday, and starting on Wednesday there is a normal sessions. So there is I've been to Past Summit almost every year. I have a great time. I learned a lot, and also this is a good opportunity. We are looking for volunteers, speakers. Please go to the pastsummit.com for more information and go register. And I probably get a discount coupon. So if you're interested, please let me know, and I'll pass the coupon to you. Okay. And we have other than this session, we have all the other sessions coming. We have a PowerShell on tomorrow, and we have a DevOps and DBA. This is the one I listened this one last month from HP. It's very good. So please check the pastsummit.com to find more details. And about the past, we have many virtual groups, and they focus on different tracks. You can find out, either a enterprise architecture or a BI or storage engine or almost everything you can find from each of the virtual chapter. Okay, so if you're interested, please let me know. So if you're interested in any tracks, just go there and put your email there, and you will receive their most chapter do monthly webinar, so they will send you an email. You can register. All right. Okay, so let's start a quick poll, and after that I will pass to Jimmy. Let's start the first poll. Please make submission. Okay, I'll give you another 5 seconds. All right, so we most of us have a SQL Server 2012 and SQL Server 2014, and some of us have here's the results. So so that's a good number. That's most of my clients also are on SQL Server 2012, and most interesting that they will skip the 2014 and jump to 2016. And for there's still some of the clients still use the 2008 R2. Please, it is a time to upgrade your platform. All right. The next poll, please make a choice. Let's give another friends some time to finish the poll. Okay, I see Jimmy is online. So after Jimmy, I will pass you the presenter in about 20 seconds, okay? Hi, Jimmy. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, very good. So
and I have to apologize. My apartment, I have someone doing construction, below my floor, so there may be a bit noise. So I apologize for that.
Okay, no problem here. Thank you, Jimmy. And we are going to we finished the poll. So very good. This is the only place that we saw Azure beat AWS. Very good. And still a lot of clients that do not have a plan. And I hope the next year more and more company will switch to cloud, either Azure or AWS. Okay, so without further ado, let me pass the presentation to Jimmy.
Thank you, Sang. This is the first time I used the webinar. So can you help, like, how should I share my desktop? Like,
Sure. Okay, we are looking your desktop now. So yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool. Okay. That's good. Then I will have to go. Okay. Can you see the PowerPoint deck indicating deep dive of SSIS 2016?
Yes, we can see that.
Okay. And let me move this, and then yeah. So first of all, thanks for setting up this session. Today I'm going to talk about the deep dive of SSIS 2016, and plus looking into some of the VNext feature for SSIS. I'm Jimmy Wong. I'm the principal PM manager for Microsoft, working for the EIMS product. My team owns the SSIS, MDS, and DQS. I've been in Microsoft for 15 years, so I've been actually on a lot of different product group before SQL Server team, such as MSN, Retail, Office, and Dynamics. So today, what I want to talk about is the SSIS 2016 and VNext. So what are they? So I would like to share a little bit more information about a couple new connectivities that we added to the SSIS 2016, and indeed 14 and 12 as well, in terms of the Azure Data Lake Store connectivity, as well as the Azure SQL DW connectivity. And then I will also talk about in details the new scale-out features that we have in the SSIS VNext. Indeed, the scale feature is already available in the SQL Server VNext, or right now we should call SQL Server 2017 CTP build. And it's publicly available. So after this session, you can actually go ahead and download it from the Microsoft website and then start trying it out. What should you take away from this session? Well, I would like you to not only understand what are the new things upcoming, but also I would like you to understand how you can start building your hybrid ETL solution or workflow using SSIS. Like, as the survey data indicated earlier, even though there are a lot of people in this session that do not plan to go to the cloud or so, but then knowing about what's the possibility out there with SSIS is actually good for your planning for your next couple of years in terms of your IT and in terms of your ETL process. So let's start with the connectivity discussion. So this is the slide that I'm going to skip through unless I assume everyone on this call has a pretty good understanding and background for SSIS. Now, the Azure Feature Pack. I'm not sure if everyone is aware of the Azure Feature Pack because it is not too new, but we introduced the Azure Feature Pack concept or the Feature Pack itself starting in SSIS 2016. So we designed the Azure Feature Pack as a separate download or extension because we want to provide a whole bunch of the modernized connectivity, such as connectivity to Azure and to our existing customer. And as you know, Azure services, there may be changes ongoingly. So including all these Azure connectivity in a box product may not be appropriate, right? Because the box product release usually take longer time. So if there is any Azure services that make some changes, we want to be able to quickly make an update that align with the Azure side and then ship it to our customers so that you can get the latest update as well. So that's why the Azure Feature Pack is an out-of-the-box download that you have to go to Microsoft.com to download it and install as a kind of like a out-of-the-box extension. Now, what does it include? Well, obviously, it includes a lot of Azure-related connectivity or functionalities. The idea, for you is to use this Azure Feature Pack to, move data to and from between different Azure sources or destination, and then it allows you. Most importantly, it allows you to build a hybrid data pipeline. For example, if you have like right now, if you're on premises only, and say you have like a different department that's starting to have some of the web data from your partner or from your business, from your web part of your business, and then you don't want to move all the data from the cloud to on premises all the time, right? So what if you want to say process the web data on the web, okay, and only extract the highlight or the summary or the aggregated data from the cloud to on premises. Now this will not only save you a lot of data transfer costs, but it will also speed up your time, right? Because a lot of cloud data source, they could be structured or non-structured, right? They could be big data related, and so leveraging the cloud compute power to process this data actually sometimes makes better sense, even though you are still remaining on premises. Okay, so you're just trying to leverage the cloud power to process all these raw data from the cloud before you actually load it in your on-premise data warehouse and then do further reporting and whatnot, right? But this is only one scenario, right? There are other scenarios where you are still remain on premises, but sometimes you may have to upload some of the data to the cloud because you are building, say, a cloud dashboard for reporting and whatnot. So that's another scenario that you may need to now upload data to the cloud and then see the report in the cloud, right? Because you may want to build a report using the cloud technology or web-based reporting that people can see anywhere in the world. So there's another example of the scenario. So this is a list of what the Azure feature pack contains, and from the connection manager side, since SSIS 2016, we have the Azure Storage Connection Manager and the Azure Subscription Connection Manager, and we are adding an ADLS Connection Manager that support the ADLS connection. From the control flows perspective, we have the Azure Blob upload and download task. This allows you to upload the flat files or any type of files to the blob in a much faster speed. You can bulk upload, numbers of files, just like you're transferring the files, right? So this is like a high-speed upload. And then we also have the HD Insight Hive and Pick task, and then the HD Insights Create and Delete Cluster task. Now, one typical example that we see a lot right now in the hybrid ETL workflow is that a lot of customers sometimes they may have a lot of raw files or flat files that they want to leverage the Hadoop, the big data power to process this file. Now, setting up an Hadoop on premises is going to cost you not only the money but resources as well. So it may not make sense for a lot of companies. And so one approach that they're looking at is, hey, can I leverage the HD Insight to help me to do this job? Okay, so what do they end up doing is these customer would like to upload these raw files to the cloud, like the location will be the Azure Blob, right? And once the file is on the Azure Blob, then you can actually leverage the HD Insight to basically compute or process the data, right? And because there are a lot of files, so leveraging the HD Insight will allow you to do it much faster at a much cheaper cost. Now, once you get the aggregated data, then you can either keep the result on the cloud, either on SQL DW or SQL Azure or back on the Azure Blob, or you move the result back to on-premises and then load it back to the local SQL Server or the local data warehouse. So this is up to you. But now, but the Azure Blob upload task, HD Insight Hive and Pick job, and then the HD Insight Create and Delete Cluster task allows you to do that seamlessly with SSIS. Your orchestration, your SSIS server still remain on premises. But then now you can make a good use of the cloud resources. You can make good use of the HD Insight power to help you to deal with some of the big data processing without setting up your own Hadoop cluster, right? That's the power of it. And the create and delete cluster task is also trying to help you to save money as well. Because when you spin off an HD Insight, you're going to get charged by Microsoft, right, by the HD Insight team for the HD Insight compute hours. Now, the ideal case is you want to only spin it up when you need it to run the compute, and you want to shut it down when you finish your compute, right? That's the safe cost. If you leave it on, you're going to be charged, for as many hours as it's on, right? So you can actually operationalize these HD Insight cluster start and stop by using SSIS as well, using this create and delete cluster task. So that from the cost perspective, SSIS can help you to manage that as well. Now, recently we have a new family called the Azure SQL DW upload task, which actually allow our customers to inject data from files on premises to the Azure SQL DW. Now you may question like, oh, well, interesting, because if it's a file on premises to DW is more like a structural SQL server. Like the data should be in a structural size. How is it? How do we do that, right? So underneath, behind the scene, what we actually do is we actually take the data, to move it to the Azure blob, and then we leverage the Polybase to do that. I actually will have more details, information for all these tasks. So I will talk more details in the subsequent slides. Now, from the data flows, we released the Azure Blob source and destination in the SSIS 2016 RTM, and recently we added a new member called ADLS source and destination. Now, these two source and destination it's just like the other source or destination task within SSIS. It allows you to specify the location. It allows you to do the mapping, etc. So very similar, and indeed we support the Azure Feature Pack for 2012, 2014, and 2016. And as the SSIS 2017 is coming out, we will have the support for that as well. Now let's look into the ADLS plus SSIS. Basically, ADLS, a lot of people we call it simply the Microsoft Data Lake. It stands for Azure Data Lake Storage, which is basically a storage for semi or unstructured data for big data analytic workload. And we have these ADLS component so that you can move and transfer data to and from the Azure Data Lake and using SSIS. Now, from the ADLS perspective, we actually, because it's Azure services, so one of the big things is what kind of authentication model you support or not support. So we actually support AAD, the Azure Active Directory, for authentication. So with the ADLS Connection Manager, you can actually connect to the ADLS either using your user identity or using the service-to-service authentication as well. So there are two options that we support, and these are the options that are commonly used in the in connecting to the ADLS. Now, in terms of the end user authentication using AAD user identity, we basically created like a multi-tenant AAD apps for the SSIS. So when you create a connection manager, you actually enter the username and password from your AAD account, and then because it's a user authentication model, so you have to basically tell the Azure Data Lake that I'm using this to connect. And Azure Data Lake will, basically pass us back the token, and within this token session, you will be able to use it without, logging in again. Okay, and this is also the typical model that you will see a lot of time now on Azure. So you provide, the credential once, and then you can keep logging in until the token expires. Then you have to redo it again. So we just basically follow the same model as what most of the Azure services does. Now, the service-to-service authentication model, then you need to basically create your single tenant AAD app and a service principal for the SSIS. And then once you get all the info, you have to enter your client ID, your secret key, and your tenant name. And this is just another approach that we support. I think most of the people use the user, credentials. Now, this is a glance of the ADLS destination. Basically, it's very similar to many other destination components. You basically select the connection manager that you predefine. You select the file format. We support text, AFRON, and ORC format for the destination. And then you basically can do the mapping if you click on the mapping tab. So not much different. The source similar, just like our other sources. You can have the column, you can configure your column and the error output. Now, one thing I want to point out for the ADLS source is we only support text and arrow. But if you look back at, if you recall the destination, we actually support OLC as well. Why? This is actually based on the customer feedback. What we learn a lot of times when people upload data in the OLC format is because there is a performance benefit to be in the OLC format if the file is being processed by the Hadoop. Okay, and so for example, if what you try to do is you try to load some of the files to an Azure storage, just as Azure Blob or the data lake, and then later on, the next step, you try to trigger like HD Insight to process the file. Then having the file in OLC format, you'll get some performance benefit of it. Okay, but what we learn from customer is usually OLC format, on premises on a normal Windows file system, it doesn't really help that much, and so they don't need to really bring back the OLC files to the on-premises in most of the case. So that is why when we first develop, we based on what the customer need. Now, if there's a need that you need to move the OLC files back from ADLS to some other location, then that's something that we'll collect the feedback and we'll see how we can improve it from later. The next thing is about the SQL DW collectors. Now, if there's any question during the session, maybe the best way is you type in your questions or your comment on the side, and then once I finish the session, then I will go back and answer your question or respond to your comment, one by one. Okay. For SQL DW, so SQL DW basically is the it represents the Azure data warehouse for SQL. It actually when we try to load the data to the SQL DW, there are different ways we can do that. And indeed, from the SSIS blob on MSDN, we've been share some of the approaches to the customer with a few blog postings. So if you're interested, please also go to the SSIS blog. I can share the link at the end of this session for you to get there. But yeah, back to this SQL DW loading. There are two ways to load data. We got one approach is to front loading using some of the data flow components. The other one is backloading that we use Polybase to do it. And if you're familiar with the Polybase, the cloud, the SQL DW, you know that Polybase basically right now is by far the fastest way to load the data. But it's not as directly as you're using the SSIS or OLADB collector to load the data. So we'll talk about both approaches today. Front loading with the data flow. First of all, you can definitely use ADO.NET or OLADB to load the data into SQL DW, just like you load the data to SQL Server or your on-premise DW today. Okay, and however, the only drawback or the bottleneck is that you are running on the single SSIS machine, okay, and the SQL DW control node, right? So as you see in the diagram, it's a one-to-one. So if you have like tons of data, like petabyte of data, then it's gonna take some time. Now, we actually published some documentation as well on our blog, and there were white paper in the past, a long time back, that sometimes when you load like really big size of data, you can, use multiple SSIS to load the data concurrently. Okay, and this is achieved by partitioning. You can actually partition your data. So maybe partition 1 is for table 1, partition 2 is for table 2, or sometimes you can do partitioning within a large table as well, right? So partitioning is an approach that we always use to do the parallel loading when you have a super large size of data to load to a single point of destination. However, even though you can you can basically parallelizing your data loading part at the SSIS side, but you still have a single node of at the DW side that you connect to, that you load the data to. So there's still some limitation in terms of performance if you do it in the partition way. Now, with the polybase, then it gets the problem solved, because the polybase is actually designed specifically for customers to access or combine the relation or non-relational data and to allow the data movement using the Hadoop technology. So it treats basically for this approach, you can actually not only parallelize the data loading, but you can also use Hadoop, the polybase approach to load the data, so that now you have a scale out parallelizing approach to load the data. How can we do that? Well, what it does behind the scene is actually for the SQL DW upload task, we actually allows you to first move the file that you want to load to the DW to the Azure blob. And once in the Azure blob, then we trigger polybase. And polybase only works for Azure blob, by the way, and it will treat your data as an external table, and then the polybase will import the data from the Azure blob into your designated table in your SQL data warehouse on Azure. And then we did all these steps. Well, you can actually do all these steps today, even without the SQL DW connector, by the way, because we have the Azure blob upload task. As I showed you before, we have the execute SQL task, which is an old task that's been there forever. And then you can build some cleanup tasks if needed. And so today, even you take the an old SSIS 2014, for example, you can do that by using the Azure blob upload task to move the data, and then you can write your own poly script, by the way. But there are a lot of information online, and then paste it on the execute SQL task, just like a SQL script. But your connection should be pointed to the SQL DW, right? And that is also how you trigger the polybase script, to import the data. And once you've done that, then pretty much you get what you need to do. But when we present this approach about a year back to some customers, they said that, hey, it's nice that you can do it, but can you do it in one step? I don't want to deal with too many connectors and whatnot. And so that's why we introduced this Azure SQL DW connector that allows you to do all this in one step. This is just the polybase script that we use in the component. I'm not going to go through the details, but I can share the deck later if you want. Since we have limited time, I have lots of slides to go through today. But yeah, this is kind of the a diagram to show, or workflow diagram to show what I just talked about, right? You move the data from SSIS to Azure blob, and then once it's in Azure blob, then you have to create an external table in the SQL DW, and then you trigger polybase to load the data. And this is a screenshot of the SQL DW upload task, similar to other upload tasks where you name the your task, and then you select what files coding format you want. You select your Azure Storage Connection Manager, so that we know where to put your data to what prop storage, and then you also select your connection to the SQL DW, using ADO.NET, because ADO.NET support AD as well. And then you can map your source and destination column, and define your metadata type, etc. Now, from these SQL DW tasks, you don't need to write your own Polybase, because we provide this Polybase script as a template. So all you have to do is to just replace some of the, like the credential name or some of the necessary placeholder, and then that's how you can have the Polybase. So you already have a Polybase template. You just need to fill up the gaps, and then that's how you can run it. Now, I have a quick demo to show. Is in the video. But basically, assuming we have installed the SQL Server 2016 with SSIS and with SSIS Azure Pad, and this is on a VM. What we try to do is we want to take file 1, txt, from my desktop to, and then bring the file, and then we want to bring the file 1 on my desktop, and then transfer it to ADOS, and then we will bring another file from ADOS to ADOS to the desktop. So let me see. Yeah, so this works. So let's say this is file 1. We have some data in the file 1, and file 2 is empty, and so it's also on the desktop. So what we try to do is we want to bring the file 1 data to the ADOS, and then bring back the data and then write it to file 2. Okay, this is the ADOS connection. We use the service to service approach. So we have the client ID and credentials, and this is another connection manager that we use the user name and approach to connect. So for this demo, we use the user identity. As I said, this is a common way to do it. We kind of keep everything untouched. And the data flow 2 is we want to bring back that data, and then write it back into the file 2 on premise. And yeah, it's pretty quick. And what we'll show you is on file 2, now you can actually see the data that was in file 1. So we kind of do a quick round trip, to move the data from file 1, to ADOS, under the name file 1 to 2.txt, and then we basically pull that file on ADOS, and we grab the data from that and then write it back to the file 2. Okay, now another quick demo is to showcase how the SQL DW work. And again, similar setup. We install the feature pack, and we have a file 1 on premises, and then we want to write it to table 1 in SQL DW, and we want to also that's pretty much what we try to do. Oh, let me see. Yeah. So again, same file 1 as you see, number and letter. And we have set up this Azure Storage Connection Manager because why we need it? Because we need to upload the files to the blob storage first. And then we also have a connection manager that connects to the SQL DW on Azure, right? So this is the SQL DW upload task. We basically specify where we want the file. The source is file 1 on my desktop. We specify the source format, and we specify the blob storage account. This account will be the storage where we've uploaded file 1.txt first to Azure Blob. And once it's in there, then we can run the Polybase script against it. And this is a task to run the Polybase script. Pretty much similar. So now let's open the SSMS and look at the SQL DW on Azure. And now we have this new table 1 created. And there we can see it should be the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, ABC, ABC. So this is the data that we had on the file 1. And then we just imported data into a table in SQL DW. All right. Okay, so now we have taken a pretty good look at the some of the new connectivity that we added to the SSIS 2016. So let's look at the future. What do we focus on the SSIS 2017, right? SSIS 2017, one of the big feature that we are introducing is the scale out feature. Now, scale can mean a lot of things, so let me be specific. We are adding a scale out feature for scaling out at package level. Okay, I'm going to walk through you the details. What do you mean by scaling at package level? We are not doing a data flow scale for sure at this point. And so please do not expect that we scale out like Zero Spark or something. But what we try to do is just to help the customer to parallelize the package execution much easier. Okay, and this is our first step. So one of the challenge that some of the customers have been facing is that, hey, I have hundreds of packages. 5 years ago, these 100 packages run 5 hours. But then as the data size grow, as a company business grow, and it seems like now it takes forever. It takes me like 20 hours to finish those hundreds of packages, and I need to make sure that every day I have enough time to debug issues. Every day I have enough time to to complete the ETL flow so that it won't run over to the next business day hour, etc. Right, and so having the the SSIS execution time in a control total execution time in a control fashion becoming more and more important, especially to a lot of on-premise SSIS workflow where you don't even touch it for many years, but it just seems to be slower and slower, right? Now, of course, you can add machines, you can set up multiple machines, multiple workers, I mean SSIS server to execute a package. But then, in today's architecture, even in SSIS 2016, if you try to set up like say 5 machines to run SSIS, first of all, you need to install SQL Server on this 5 machine. You need to install catalog on these 5 machines, and then you need to also deploy manually which packages you want to run on what SSIS server. When I say you have 500 packages, 5 machines, then you have to manually pick like these 100 packages on machine A, and then the 101 to 200 package on machine B, etc. Right? So it's a time-consuming process, and it's not that intuitive. So that's why we decided to scale out a package level feature, so that we try to help the customer to solve this business problem. Now, not only that, we also been looking at, hey, some of the customers, they are considering using the Azure VM as an IaaS model, right? They are starting to move some of their workload to the cloud. And right now, we don't have an SSIS PaaS solution that's available in the market. So moving the SSIS workload to Azure VM as an IaaS becoming, an obvious option, or the only option so far. But this option actually has a good side of it, because now with the IaaS model, you can you can basically scale up and down of your compute power of your machine, right? In Azure, you can change your machine from 4 core to 8 core, 8 core to 16 core, as long as you and pick the one that fits you. So it is unlike the traditional on-premises. When you buy a machine for 8 core, you have to start with the machine for 2 to 5 years before you can retire and buy a new machine. But nowadays, with the cloud technology, with Azure platform, you can actually run your SSIS on an IaaS model, and you find that, hey, I want more compute power, you just pay more money, and then you spin up like a more powerful machine. Now, with this scale out feature, it also addressed the scale out and scale in part, right? The Azure VM compute power, addressed the scale up and down part. With the scale out feature, it addressed the scale out and in. So now you can actually say, hey, you know what? My company data, we have like say 1,000 packages, and it's been running like 20 hours plus, and it's getting riskier. We don't have enough time if something goes wrong. But you know what? You can run it on an IaaS model with like super high compute power machines, and then with the scale out, so you can actually, I would say, deploy it or set it up in such a way that you have a pretty, sizable scale out topology, so that you can bring down these 1,000 packages execution from 20 hours to, sometimes even possible for 2 hours, right? Of course, it depends on whether you have like a particular package that is extremely long running package, right? But that, if you have an extremely long running package, that may do a lot of lookups or like high compute intensive transformation, then maybe you up the power of your machine will help solve that problem. But if you have many small packages, it just takes time to execute. Then spreading it out with the scale out with many nodes of the VM will also help you. Okay, so the scale out feature actually, you can combine with the IaaS model to provide like a solution for you to scale up and scale out. Now let's look at the scale out feature in a more deeper way. So one of the fundamental changes of the architecture changes is that we now have the concept of master and worker. Okay. Now I was talking about how you try to set up the multiple SSIS server in with SSIS 2016. Each machine is exactly identically the same, right? You have a SSIS, you have the SQL Server and the catalog, right? And you just deploy your packages to there and then have it scheduled to run, right? But with the scale out model, you have one master node. This master node is just like the same as what you have today in SSIS 2016 or 14 or 12, right? It has the SSIS DB with the catalog. It has the but then it also has the new component called SSIS Master Service. This is something that you install, along with your installer, with the new installer. Okay, so this is a master node. And then you have the worker node, where the worker node does not require SQL Server. Okay, and it just have the SSIS binary to do the execution of the packages. So in this way, if you say, and also the master, by the way, can also be the worker as well. All right. So say if you have 5 machines on premises, you can turn this 5 machine into 1 master and 5 workers, or you can turn this 5 machine into 1 master and 4 workers. That's up to you. All right. And then now, what are these master services and worker services? They are for communication, because the master will have to communicate with the worker so that the packages can be distributed when the worker is free. And indeed, we actually using a pool model such that when the worker is free, the worker will talk to the master and say, hey, I need more job. Then the master will say, okay, here is a new package that you can run, right? So like let's say you have 10 packages, okay, and you have 2 workers, okay. So what happened is that when you execute these 10 packages, the package 1, for example, well, actually, let me take a step back. You have 2 workers and connecting to the master. You have 10 packages to execute right now. So worker 1 and worker 2 at the beginning, both of them are free. So worker 1 will go, talk to master and then say, hey, I'm free, give me a job. Master will give package 1 for worker 1 to execute. Worker 2 also talk to master for the same thing. I'm free, I need to execute something. Then master will take the package 2 for worker 2 to execute. Now let's say worker 2 finish faster because package 2 on worker 2 is smaller, for example. Okay, and worker 2 is done. And so then worker 2 will actually go talk to master again, say, hey, I'm free again. Master will give the package 3 for workers to execute. Okay, that's the model. All right, so if you have 10 workers, then you have 10 workers talking to the master to ask for a job to run. So now it helps you to finish your package execution much faster. Okay, and for the worker to and the master to talk or communicate, they communicate through the SSL layer. So it's very secure, and we don't have to worry about someone else tamper with some hacking and then trick your worker to do something not intended to. So yeah, this is a kind of like the execution flow as I described. It's a pool model. The worker pull the task, and then master give the package to the worker to run, and then once the worker finish, it sends out the status, and then all the worker, after they execute the package, they have the log, right? And the log will also be uploaded to the master as a centralized repository as well. Now I'm going through. Now what I'm trying to show you is kind of the installation experience. So we have updated the SQL Server installer to include the scale out master and scale worker installation option under the integration services. Now, as I said, if you have a single machine, you can install, or you have like limited machine, you can install master and worker together. And that becomes just like a regular SSIS server. Or you can choose to install only master, or you can choose to install only worker. That depends on how powerful your machine or etc. Right? And when you install the master, we'll create an ND service account, a new account called SSIS Scale Out Master Service Account. You don't have to do anything if you don't want to change it. Now, in order for us to configure the master port so that the worker can talk to the master, there's a new page in the installation that we added, right? The default port is 8391, okay, but you can change it, of course. And we also, in order for the master and worker to talk to each other through SSL, so we need a certificate, okay? And we can either create a SSL certificate for you by default, okay? Or if you want to choose to use your own, you can by clicking the use an existing SSL certificate, and you can specify what certificate it is. Now, for the scale worker, similar, you can just select the workers, and we'll create like a service account called SSIS scale worker to run the service. Now, for configure the worker, you need to tell us what's the master machine name and also the pod. And then you also need to specify the master certificate. Where should we find it? Because that will be the one that the worker used to talk to master used to talk to the worker. Now, in the current CTP build, okay, because it's CTP build, so we still do not have the UI to help you configure the worker and master automatically. But we'll have the UI ready at the end of May, okay, by May 30th. So in the upcoming latest CTP, we're gonna have the management UI, and I'm gonna show you the wireframe later about the management UI. That will help you to do the process. But if you try to do it, if you plan to say, hey, after this session today, I'm gonna try out the CTP build to run the scale out. Then what you just need to do is you need to manually install the SSIS client certificate for your master service so that you can use to authenticate the worker service. There's some manual step today that I'm showing here that can be eliminated by the end of May with the new enhanced UI. And all the details, we have the documentation on MSDN. So if you have if you try to get more details about what each configuration means, please refer to our documentation. Now, one of the things to configure is to configure the catalog. So the current design for the catalog is like when you create a catalog, you'll see that there is a checkbox at the very end in the diagram where it says enable the server as SSIS scale out master. Okay, so basically what you can do is you can still install SSIS just like in the past, right? And if you don't want to use scale out, but if you want to use the scale out topology, then you will have to tell the catalog that, hey, I am the scale out master. And underneath the scene, there may be some logic that runs differently, or how we distribute the job will be different, okay? Especially when you have multiple workers. And then also when you, our report will show differently as well, because right now, if you are in a scale out topology, you will have worker 1, worker 2, worker 3, worker 4, and then, we'll have to collect the log, and we'll have to show it on the report view as well. And this is one of the example of running a T-SQL script to see what are the workers associated with this master. Now, but if you don't sign up the catalog for the master for being the scale out master, then when you run this Spark or StarProp, it will be empty. Or run this query, it will be, you will not see any worker. Now, once you set up, configure the worker and master, they're talking to each other, then your next step will be to execute the package. So as you can see, on the context menu on the SSMS, we introduce a new option called execute in scale out. Okay, and you click on, and traditionally on the context menu, if you right click on the package, you'll get execute, right? And then you can execute a single package. And in here, in the SSIS DB node, if you click execute and scale out, then it will showcase all the packages that's available. and then you can actually multi-select all the packages to execute in parallel. Now you can select machine as well. Like, so the first screen is about the package selection. So first you select the package, you can select all, or you can select like maybe 3 out of 10. That's up to you, right? Then you can select machine. So by default, it depends on how many workers you configure to connect to this master. The master will know. Say in this case, we configure 2 workers to talk to this master. So the master will know that these 2 workers are available. Okay, and you can select all so that your execution will use all these workers. Or sometimes you may do like maintenance and whatnot. So maybe certain machine you don't want it to be in the execution mode, so you can exclude that as well in the run. So it's up to you how you want to specify it. And of course, once you click execute, it will run and you will see the report. So I don't have a screenshot for that. Now, what's coming up? Well, as I mentioned, by end of May, we're going to have the new manager UI for managing the scale out piece. So in the upcoming release, we're going to add another feature called manage scale out. It's from the same context menu, just right below the execute in scale out option. And it will show up a new a dialog. And this dialog basically is kind of like a management UI portal that allows you to first connect to your master, put in your own name, and once you connect it, then you will have a dashboard. You will know whether this catalog is enabled for scale or not. If it's not, you can click the button for enable, or you can click the button for disable if it was enabled. And you actually see, some of the information of this machine, of the master machine, and you also see the list of the worker, right? The red represent is offline or disabled. The green one is the one that enable. So this allows you to manage the machine much easier, because sometimes, as I mentioned, you may have to do maintenance, or patching that you have to do. So you don't want to have all, you may want to bring down some machines so that they are not in the execution. Okay, and once you do finish patching, then you can bring them back online again, right? Now, one of the steps that I described to you earlier was like, you have to enable a worker, or you have to basically configure the worker to talk to the master, and then you have to specify the certificate, SSL certificate and whatnot. So with this management UI portal, it helps you to do that much easier. First of all, we have this enable or disable button. You can enable or disable the worker directly from this portal. Okay. Now, if you want to connect to a worker, now you just need to give us a worker name, and then you also will have to provide like the worker certificate thumbprint. And this UI portal will automate the process of configuring and connecting the worker to this master. And once each step is done, then it will check and until everything is done. Okay, and this also include installing the certificate. It include setting up the endpoint for the worker, etc., etc. So it makes your step much easier and much automated. And then so that's the management UI is one part. Now there's a second part is about the failover support. It's good to have scale out, but once we have a lot of machine in the scale topology, the next thing we have to start looking into is the failover, the disaster recovery. So we are glad to say that we will support failover and high availability for SSIS scale out as well. Now there are different models you can set up your high availability, right? Indeed, always on support for SSIS is a new feature on SSIS 2016. Okay, and before we don't have the always on support, right? So starting in SSIS 2016, we have the always-on support. So basically in SSIS 2017, with this scale feature, we leverage the always-on support so that to make sure that your master will have a high availability plan. And how you can do that is you can basically set up always on for your master using the SSIS always on support, so that you have multiple SSIS DB replicate. Now you also will have multiple SSIS master services on each machine, and you can set it up as a load balancing cluster or whatnot. And now the normal case, it will use the primary, but as something goes wrong with the primary, then the always on logic kicks in and it will go to the replicate, and it will continue to dispatch the job. So and with this always on approach, then if something wrong with the primary, it won't impact your ETL run. You will still continue to execute things. And especially our log DB is being put. It can also be put on a separate location as well. So you can also do a replicate on a log as well. Right, that's more like a more advanced setup of it. So I have a quick demo for the scale out feature. We have table 1 on SQL Azure, and we basically and then we have basically 2 tables, right? Table 1 and table 2. We basically want to use scale out and we will create 2 packages. One package is to move table 1 and data, and the second package number 2 is to move table 2 data. So we want to move the data from these 2 tables from one location to the other, right? So let's quickly take a look at it. So again, I have 2 packages. Basically, this is a connection to my SQL Azure. This is a second SQL Azure location. And again, this is a connection. We're showing the data flow task that we specify the 2 location and the table 1 that we want to move. This is a table 2, same setup, similar, right? So we end up having 2 packages, and then we deploy it to the catalog, so that the catalog will have these 2 packages running. These 2 packages. And what we're showing you is right now, on the SQL Azure 1, we have these 2 data. On table 2, we have this data. Now on the destination SQL Azure, our table 1 is empty and table 2 is also empty. And we also want to show you that the execution report right now is at ID 46. So now we launch the package execute window. They execute in scale out windows, and we select the package that we want to run, and as its trigger. So what happened behind the scene here now is it will take these 2 packages and then launch the run on both. The the table 1.t DTSX will be run on worker 1, and the table 2 DTSX will be run on worker 2, or vice versa. I mean, we don't have exact control, but these two package is distributed on two machines and execute, and they finish almost at the same time. And now we look at the destination, and now we see the data. Okay, so as simple as that. But as I point out earlier, the scale feature is actually quite important, not only for on-premises, but also for the IaaS model, right, that I mentioned, that you can scale up and scale out with IaaS on Azure. And also, although I cannot tell you too much in a non-NDA discussion, but we are what we are actually looking at is to leverage this technology, this scale-out feature, to build another option on running SSIS packages on Azure, which could be a PaaS solution. If you have an NDA with Microsoft, you can ping me offline. I can, I have to make sure I check your NDA status, and then we can talk more. But on a public, discussion or session like this one, I cannot share too much information. But what I can say is we are working on, another PaaS option for SSIS as well. Okay. And there's a whole bunch of information. Like we have a blog, let's talk about, various options to inject data and whatnot. This is a blog link for the SSIS blog, the blog.msdn.microsoft.com/SSIS. You'll find a whole bunch of posting from myself and the team. Again, the documentation for scale out, for the connectors, and there's no price because I just reused the slide from an Ignite session. Okay, so that's it for today's session. Any question, comment? Hello?
Yes, there are several questions, Jimmy. I'm not sure if you can see those questions. Do you want me to read that for you?
Yes, please. I don't see any messages.
Okay. The first question is it's a sense that the scale out feature won't help. The question is, seems that the scale out feature won't help much if the packages have to be executed sequentially. Is that right?
Yes, you are correct. If your packages has dependency on another packages that you have to wait for packages to execute before the next one, then yeah, this is I would say a design problem, like in the packages side, or a business requirement that you have to do that. So in that case, it won't help, right? The package execution or the scale out feature will work well for those packages that are standalone packages.
Okay, yeah. Thanks. The next question is related. It said, if there is a dependency between packages, how to define that dependency?
Okay, so well, in the first release, we actually do not in the SSIS package there is an EPT task, right? Execute package task, and a lot of some customers they will use EPT task to define like a master package and then the child package, and using a master package control flow to control which package to go first or not, right? And that's one way to define the dependency. And if you use EPT, then we'll execute all the packages within the same machine. But in this release, we don't scale out the EPT task. Okay, so you can use it as actually a good thing, or you can see in this particular case. right? That you can use it the EPD task to control your flow. Now, other than that, I think yes, I understand some of the these asks like if you have dependence, if you have 10 packages, package 1 depends on package 4, depends on package 6. How do I tell the scale out right now? There's no explicit way to tell the scale out right now, except maybe you have to define in EPT.
All right. Helen has a question. Helen, you can talk. Helen?
Hello, can I hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, okay, yeah, my question is, what kind of, the version of SSDT2 you are using just now?
SSDT2?
Yes.
So the SSDT2 is actually irrelevant because the major changes for the SSIS scale out is on the SSMS mostly. The SSDT2 right now we are still using the I have to check the version, but we are not using the latest SSDT 2017 yet, because the latest SSDT is still not supporting the IS.
That's right.
Due to some dependency on the VS team, on the VSTA and the VS shell. So right now, with the very latest SSDT 2017, you only see RS and AS. You don't see IS. The IS one will gonna come sometimes later in the next few months when the VSI has resolved that dependency. Yeah.
Okay, so SSDT2 2015 should be working for 2000.
Hello?
DT2 2015 can be working for SSIS 2017, right?
Yeah, for the package development, yes. For the package development, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
No more questions on the question bar. So I think that's it. So really appreciate Jimmy. Jimmy is very busy, and but he's so dedicated to give us a presentation. So let us give. This is a good deadline for us to testing the new feature of SSIS. And thank you again, Jimmy. Thanks for your volunteer and good presentation. I will upload the recording. And Jimmy, can you send me the deck after?
Yeah, sure. I can send you guys a deck. And thanks for joining the call as well. And thanks for saying, organizing this. I apologize for the last time. There's some miscommunication about the time. So, we couldn't, we kind of get confused with the time, but I hope you guys find this useful. Again, if you are NDA with Microsoft, or if your company is NDA with Microsoft, you can come reach out to me. My email address is jwong@microsoft.com. I can talk more about the SSIS PaaS solution in the future. But regardless whether you are NDA or not, please go ahead and try out the scale out. Because if you have feedback, you can feel free to email me directly with your scale feedback. I want to make sure the scale works for each of you and for your business requirement. So if you have any suggestion, feedback, please do let me know directly. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Jimmy.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Good night, everyone.
Okay. The next, we have a upcoming seminar, webinar for June, and this is about Azure SQL for production DBA, and we will send out invitation soon. It is this is a presentation by SQL Skills. SQL Skills is run by Paul Randall and Kimberly, This is a very good presentation. I hope everyone can register. It is on June 12th, I believe. I will double check with the date. I will send the invitation. So that's it for today. Thanks for your time and thanks for joining us. Everybody have a good evening, good morning. Bye.